Tritt für mich ein, so wie ich für dich eingetreten bin.
Adolf Hitler, a name synonymous with evil, destruction, and a dark chapter in human history. But how did this one man rise to power, plunge the world into war, and ultimately meet his demise? Today, we delve into the fall of Adolf Hitler. In the aftermath of World War I, Germany was a broken nation. Crushing economic burdens, political instability, and a deep sense of humiliation fueled resentment amongst the German people. This is where Hitler emerged. A charismatic speaker with a twisted ideology, he preyed on these anxieties. Hitler promised to restore Germany's lost glory. He blamed the country's woes on minorities, particularly Jews, and scapegoated them for Germany's problems. His message resonated with a desperate population, and the Nazi Party rose to power. Once in control, Hitler dismantled Germany's democratic institutions. He established a totalitarian regime, crushing dissent and eliminating any opposition. Propaganda became a weapon, spewing hatred and fueling a dangerous nationalism. His ambitions grew. He defied international treaties, remilitarized the Rhineland, and eventually set his sights on outright conquest. In 1939, Germany invaded Poland, sparking World War II. Early victories fueled Hitler's hubris. He believed himself invincible, a military genius. But his arrogance would be his undoing. Hitler underestimated the resolve of Britain and the Soviet Union. The brutal invasion of the Soviet Union stretched German resources thin. The stubborn resistance of the Red Army, coupled with the Allied landings in Normandy, marked a turning point. Hitler, fueled by delusional optimism, refused to accept defeat and continued to throw German lives away in a desperate attempt to salvage victory. In the year 1941, the tide began to turn. The United States entered the war in 1941 after the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor. Hitler was now fighting a war on multiple fronts, a war he never could win. As the war raged, Hitler's military strategies became increasingly reckless. He underestimated the resilience of the Allied forces, the Soviet Union's strength, and the sheer industrial might of the United States. By 1942, the fate of the war began to turn. German forces suffered devastating defeats at Stalingrad and Kursk. The Allies launched a multi-front offensive, pushing back German forces in Europe and North Africa. In June 1944, D-Day marked the invasion of Normandy, opening a second front in Europe. Meanwhile, Soviet troops relentlessly pushed westward, closing in on Berlin. By 1945, Allied forces were closing in on Germany from both the east and west. Berlin, the heart of the Nazi regime, became a battlefield. Hitler, delusional to the end, refused to accept defeat. He retreated underground to a fortified bunker, a concrete tomb of his own making. As Soviet troops surrounded Berlin, Hitler's inner circle began to crumble. Some fled, others committed suicide. On April 30th, 1945, facing the inevitable, Hitler took his own life. His legacy? A world devastated by war and the systematic extermination of 6 million Jews in the Holocaust, a stain on human history. The fall of Hitler marked the end of the Third Reich, but the scars of his barbarity remain. His story serves as a stark reminder of the dangers of unchecked hatred and the importance of fighting for freedom and democracy. The rise and fall of Hitler remains a chilling reminder of how a nation can be seduced by hate, scapegoating, and the allure of a strong man. His reign unleashed a wave of terror, prejudice, and ultimately war that plunged the world into darkness. Understanding Hitler's rise and fall is crucial to ensuring such horrors are never repeated.